Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now live with BB3 TV.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 6 on the podcast. Of course, I've been podcasting a lot longer than 6, but it's 6 since we rebooted Hizzy's Place. Hope everyone's doing good tonight, this lovely Sunday evening. Do like we always do here in the chat. Just tell me where you're watching from. Also, if you're watching over here on TikTok, let me know where you're watching from. Ashley is having some technical difficulties. She'll be with us as soon as we get the nod to put her in. But hopefully you guys are all doing well. Today, we have an awesome show on tap for you. I'm super excited about this one. It's a topic that I don't really get a chance to discuss much or even research much. But I tell you, it's an awesome time. Ashley, whenever you're ready, you can give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you in. All right, make sure you hold it up so I can see you. All right, Amber, hello there, darling. It's good to see you. All right. Give me a second here. All right, we got you. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. How you guys doing? If you're watching over here on TikTok, just let me know where you're watching from. I'm broadcasting on TikTok as well. When I do this on Sundays, TikTok, you guys are just a spectator to my podcast. So that's that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and pop the earphones off so TikTok can hear you talking to.
I know.
All right, let's give that a shot. Can you hear me?
Can I join your live on TikTok?
You could probably join my live if you were on a different platform. I don't think you could do it from here, from where you're at right now. So if you're just joining it from TikTok, guys, we're going to be talking about astral projections today and sleep paralysis. Where is better to watch? That's entirely up to you. You can watch it on TikTok, anywhere you. Hey, there's Lizzie. What's up, Lizzie?
Hey, Liz. You can't see my pretty face on the tiki-taki yet, so.
So Dave Dark Horse on TikTok says he's 6'5", 260 pounds, cancer survivor, man. Way to go. Congratulations on beating cancer.
You. Awesome.
That is a beautiful thing. So we are talking today about astral projection and sleep paralysis. Now, personally, I have never had any type of an experience with astral projecting or sleep paralysis, but I find it to be a topic that is incredibly fascinating. So fascinating that, the United States government got involved and the CIA has literally conducted experiments, and they have an entire project called the Gateway Project. And if you haven't heard of that, you should definitely go take a look, hit Google and Google the Gateway Project and the CIA, and you will be hit with a load of insane information. So definitely go and do that. So if you're still joining in here, guys, tell us where you're watching from. We are going to get into this bad boy here in a second. Yeah, Victor, yo, how is everyone? Two-time cancer survivor myself, but here to support my brother. I appreciate you, man. Completely off topic. I can't even imagine, what it would be like to get that diagnosis. Oh my God, you've got cancer. Holy crap. What do you do? Thank you for the roses. I just got screened for colon cancer and I got my results back immediately, and I'm cancer free. Praise the Lord. So, I just can't imagine what that would be like. So, my heart goes out to you guys who are dealing with this. And this is one of my things that really frustrates me. I feel like you can't tell me, how's it going over there on TikTok? You can't tell me that they don't have a cure or something that is, I don't know what I want to say without it becoming across to. I think there's a cure. Why wouldn't they put it out if there was one? You know what I mean?
No money for them. Keeping people sick gives them money in their pockets.
It's the pharmaceutical. It's the pharmaceuticals, these companies that are responsible. It's not a baby tanker hat. This is a Cav Scat hat. I am not a baby tanker. They took our tanks. To be honest, we're up armored Humvee guys. I think you would call that light cavalry. A cool mustache, show me. I wish I had one like that. You could have one like that. Just takes a little while to grow it. Takes a little while to grow it. So if you guys are just jumping in here on TikTok, we're talking about astral projections and sleep paralysis. All right, so let's jump right into this. You sent me some pretty interesting stuff, and I'll tell you, I watched a video today, and these guys are it's the Revello Project, I think they're called.
Yes. Yeah, they kind of do a deep dive on it, and like the process behind it is pretty cool.
Exactly. And they've come up with some incredible information, not just on like astral projections, but what they did a deep dive into the CIA, you know, what
The Gateway Project.
dude, that Gateway Project is insane. You know,
I know.
they have gone into so much detail, and I literally have it pulled up. So there's phases. Okay, you can literally go onto Google, okay, and give me one sec here. If you press your ear against the stranger's leg, you can actually hear it say, "What are you doing?" That was funny. So you can actually that's too funny. You can actually get it's called a Gateway Intermediate Workbook from the CIA. It was officially approved for release from the CIA in September of 2003.
Yeah,
And
that's when they declassified all of it, the report and all of that.
right. Now, there's so many other documents, and I literally have stuff printed out here that, okay, there's an astral projection caper that they did that literally sent a person that they were monitoring this entire time. It's all here. It's all access, you know, because of freedom of information and the release of this documents. They did an astral projection to spy on a Russian base in the USSR.
What
Let's
is
see.
Gateway?
I know I was a tanker and went the same basic training barracks as CD. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Astral
Black
projection is a
Widow.
really good topic. CIA has been all over this for decades. What did you say? How you doing, Facebook user? What did you
Black
say?
Widow on TikTok. She was asking, what is Gateway? It's a project from the CIA. They made it public. They declassified it in 2003, but I believe it was initially started in the 80s, correct?
Yeah, 1983 is the earliest I think I've seen the date. Which, you know, I mean, I think that's kind of late. I think that's kind of getting late into the astral projection.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they were probably doing stuff a lot sooner than that. But this really hit the mainstream when The Men Who Stare at Goats was based on something like this. I never did watch that movie. I don't think I could ever take that seriously. Maybe I should watch it. I got to see.
I think that's where they got the idea for 11. That and the Montauk Project. Like Stranger Things is like a combination of the Gateway Project and the Montauk Project.
Oh, okay. So I've never watched Stranger Things. I never got into any of that. I'm a history guy. So, you know, I've watched the Memphis Belle. I've watched all the, you know, military movies you could come across, but never any of that, especially Men That Stare at Goats. But this, you know, astral projection really became kind of mainstream when they started talking about it, like on programs like Coast to Coast AM. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Coast to Coast AM is an awesome show. Ash had to step away for 1 second. But you know, listening to Dave Schrader. Oh, you got the cat. The cat came out of the. Yeah, you better put that thing in a cage. Okay, so a little backstory. Ashley is moving out of her house. Her cat retreated, went into a vent, and stayed in the vent. And she couldn't get this thing out of the vents. And they're literally going to pull this mobile home away from this place tomorrow. And the cat was in the vent, so she got the cat. So. Yes, we're talking about George Norrie and George Norrie and Dave Schrader and Darkness Radio. Those guys talk a lot about this, but so does give me the guys Joe Rogan, you know, and has some people that they talk about it. But let's get into the nitty gritty of it. So, what in your research have you come across is exactly astral projection? What does it mean? What happens?
Well, it all comes down to frequencies. And I know we've talked about this before: energies, frequencies, radio waves, bandwidths, whatever you want to call it. Once you get into a state where you're more in tune with the universe, or sometimes just if you're sleeping, I know some people can do it just intuitively while they're sleeping because they're in that mindset while they sleep. But I don't want to say leave your body because I don't think that your soul necessarily leaves your body, but you're able to project your consciousness elsewhere, beyond time and space. So you can listen in to somebody, down the hall, or some people, they say they've ended up, like you said, over in the USSR from America. So it's a really interesting concept, and it's one that I find fascinating. But the scientific take on it is definitely really interesting now that that's in my purview.
Well, yeah, see, kind of, if you look at it this way, when has the government really gotten themselves into anything that didn't have some kind of validity to what they were talking about, to what they're doing?
Mhm.
I don't think the government gets involved in things like that just for shits and giggles. I mean, if you do, tell me. I just don't think that is what the government does. I feel
Mhm.
personally that um, if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, or look at it from just an energy perspective, not even from like a religion standpoint, okay, just as a,
Mhm.
you know as a religious guy myself who believes in Christ and all that, okay, I can sit here and say, well, he's the creator of the heaven and the earth. I mean, why couldn't he have created this magnificent energy source that we are all literally fed by, and we
I think
have
they
these
probably
incredible
had more
abilities.
access back then. I think that it was more common knowledge then, you know?
I think you're probably right. I think there was probably more being practiced. I don't think people, well, I don't know. I would say maybe they weren't as publicly shamed for it, but then you have to think about the people that were witches and what happened to them, or even just,
Well,
Catholics that were persecuted in Rome. You know what I mean?
well,
Or,
if you think about it, there were all the pre-Christian religions. They all had mystery schools, they had esoteric practices. They were much more in tune with the universe. So I think that early Christians definitely had that access. I mean, a lot of them were converting from pagan religions that had those practices, and a lot of them did get incorporated, but I think that they've been lost over time.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you look at any other, type of religion, not like the main Abrahamic religions, but like Buddhism, and any pagan religion, shamanism, they all have these ecstatic um practices. They go into those trance-like states. So I think that maybe a lot of that has been lost over time with like the mainstreaming of Christianity when it was made like huge. It's a official religion of like Rome and all that, but I think initially they probably still utilize those. And I mean, how do you think that all those miracles happened back then?
I mean, exactly. I can't speak to what powers Christ had or whatever as a man or whatever. Um, but it was more widespread and more widely accepted, I think.
And he
These
probably
things
had
were,
more access.
I would think so, as the Messiah. But again, oh, I want a quick disclaimer. Somebody came at me on my Facebook page. Somebody who's a punk ass. I'm not gonna lie. It's just is what it is.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope.
No, you don't know the history.
I
So
do.
there's a history between me and these people.
I know.
So this person came at me and said that I was trashing religions and saying that they don't
It
love
was
people,
about
or they
Satanism.
don't they don't give you hugs and blah blah. Like, what? When did
I
anybody who's
saw
ever
the
watched
clip,
any one of my shows knows that I would never ever shame
Dusty.
anybody for doing that.
Dusty. It
What?
was about Satanism. I saw it.
What was about Satanism?
What you
What I
said.
said?
Yes, and I saw it.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
you didn't show me that.
No, I didn't get a chance to. I was gonna talk to you, but then everything
A
happened.
townie? You say a townie punk? Uh, Padre Pio is an amazing example of miracles. Well, that's definitely that's a whole
Ah,
other show.
Padre Pio, I've heard of that. Yes.
That's a whole
That is
nother show. We
crazy.
definitely want to get into that sometime, but let's stay on track here. It's so easy to get off course because of just that's the way it is. When I ran off the cuff,
Yeah.
that's why I would call it that. It was off the cuff. It just goes that way. But astral projecting. So when you leave your body, so this is what they say. The Gateway Project gives you a bullet point guide
Exactly.
to
Everything.
getting out of your. There's a mantra that you're supposed to speak. And there's different phases. And what did they say it was? I think there's it
There's
says like there's
hemisync, which is what you're trying to get to.
what is it?
Hemispheric syncing. So that's what you're trying to get to. They call it
Yeah.
hemisync, and there are many ways to get there, which are like laid out in that document. It's crazy.
Hey TK, how you? Hope you're doing well, honey. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it. You just came up with the word before I could remember what it was. How do you get one? How do you get your gateway intermediate workbook? It's available online through Google. So
Right.
just Google Gateway Intermediate Workbook CIA, and you will find it there, and it will be readily available for you to download and to
It's
print.
one of the declassified docs, right? Like you can get it right off the CIA website from the declassified, correct?
Say that again.
That workbook, you can get it off of the CIA declassified, right? Like that's where it is,
Yeah,
like it's part of that
yeah.
whole document release.
It is. Yeah. So you can get that, all of that. And there's other documents there, not just that workbook. There's other things that the CIA is literally talking about step by step how to astral project from your body. Now, again, I've never had the experience, although I do find it interesting. I think my problem is, my perception is that if your soul leaves your body, it's usually because your body is dead. How can you
Right.
leave your body and separating your consciousness from your body? I just don't understand how you could do that and be alive to talk about it. Taryn wants to
Right.
learn how to astral project so she can go to Brad Pitt's
I
house.
think that'd be a good
You want to
thing.
go to Brad Pitt's house? Taryn wants to go to Brad Pitt's house and spy on him while he's in his bathroom. That's so weird. Brad Pitt's not. I don't
Spy
think
on him
Brad
in the
Pitt is.
bathroom?
I added the bathroom part, but that's what she's thinking. So that's what you're curious about over there on TikTok. Um, no, she's
Sorry.
not. She's not curious about Brad Pitt. She's curious about how you can leave your body, you astral project, and not be dead. At the same time. Brad Pitt's an old man now. She goes, not just a spy. Dirty girl. Um, dirty girl. But the government also used the Gateway Project for remote viewing, and it's essentially astral projection is more of when you're in bed, when you're sleeping, when you're supposed to be in that type of like REM sleeping type phase. But you have to. There's so much intense focus. It's not like you can just. I mean, maybe people do. Maybe people have the ability to just kind of pop out of their bodies and go. Um,
Takes a lot of
I
practice to
but
get there.
what exactly? So what I'm thinking is, when you leave, you have to. Okay, I'm trying to like frame this.
I think
You
it's
have
more
to.
the consciousness that leaves.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But still, though, okay. But you're separating yourself somehow by doing that,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Mhm.
you are separating consciousness from physicality, but your
Mhm.
body is still alive.
Well,
Doesn't
in
your
the
body kind of require the consciousness or like that electrical energy to stay alive? I don't know.
well, with the Gateway report, what Robert Monroe wrote, he basically said that the nature of the universe is kind of holographic. So if you can get your brain synced to the same wavelengths, hertz, they call it, as like the universe, you can access that information. So like the universe is a construct, inside our minds. And basically you can become like part of it for that split second. You can access information. And they said that you can kind of bypass space and time. So it's not just you can go here and it's happening right now. Like you could look back, you could look forward. So they're saying that there is this space when you're on the right wavelength that you can access all of that. So I don't think that your
Mhm.
consciousness necessarily leaves. I just think that your wavelength is matching, so you essentially almost become a part of it.
Okay. So there was a question on TikTok that says, is there a string attached that you can follow back home? That's actually an interesting question, because one of the drawings, and I would show it to you on TikTok. Unfortunately, I won't really be able to do that. Where they actually show a drawing of your energy being connected by like a strand of energy to your astral projection. So to answer your question, according to the CIA, apparently so.
And it's almost automatic. Like when you desync, like whenever you fall out of that wavelength, because it does take intense concentration to stay there. Whenever you fall out of that, it's almost like you immediately just kind of jump back. I don't think that you so much leave your space as your space kind of joins, like your energy joins.
So from the only thing that from my reading of this, my understanding is limited, but from what I gathered, to answer your question, is the only thing you can bring back is the energy, or the images and the experience that you had. Like you can't bring anything back physical.
No, because you're not physically going to that place.
Right. But you can come back, and what they've done is these people who have remote viewed or astral projected from their body, they draw things out in such detail that says there's absolutely no way, if these people have never been there, how could they possibly know this unless they've actually visited this in the manner in which we just set out to do. So I think there's validity to it. I think that there are some very prominent people in history. And again, the United States government doesn't just get involved in these types of things. And then, yes, it was been a secret. It's been kept secret for decades. But when they released all this information, it shows you the depth of reality. The government acknowledges the existence of multiple dimensions. Okay. The government literally admits the existence of and interdimensional beings. It literally, I read that in the CIA document. Interdimensional beings. The government says that. So put that into perspective.
And
Right?
those are all physics topics too, like they're theoretical, but they all acknowledge the fact that with our limited understanding, all of that is possible. And like mathematically, they've kind of shown like it's likely for a lot of that.
I don't know, Taryn. That's a good question. So Taryn asks, if you visit someone, do they remember it, since you have read that the projector remembers? Well, I
They
don't
don't
think they even know
perceive
you're
you.
there.
Yeah, that's kind of why the CIA wanted to learn it, because you could send someone to remote view, they would have no idea you were there. You're the proverbial fly on the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. Because think about it. It's the perfect spy game, right?
Mhm.
If you have somebody who can remote view or astral project and put themselves in secretive government agencies, nuclear plant programs, whatever, it kind of saves having to put your own people and personnel in harm's way, right? So why not come up with a program that says, well, if I can get this guy who can actually give me the details I need, I'm not going to send anybody in harm's way. The Wherever I May Roam song by Metallica is about OBE, out of body experience that James Hetfield had. No, I didn't know that. Oh my God, this is even better than I thought. Taryn, I would not trust Taryn Kerper with the ability to astral project.
I wouldn't trust me.
How's it
I'm
going?
nosy.
How's it going, Mr. Springer? So, do I know anyone who's done it? Not personally. I do not know anybody who's done astral projections, but there are prominent people in history that have. And you sit here and try to rattle off their names, I'd be lost to do it. But it's an easy Google search.
The problem is that's something that's very hard to prove, unless you do it and you come back, you're like, I swear, but like, how do you prove that you actually did it and you just didn't know beforehand or.
Well, think about it. If you're going into the USSR, how many Americans, especially during the height of the Cold War, in the 60s and 70s, of course, I guess astral projection. Well, I don't know the government when they really started getting involved in this, but we're talking about a communist country that they have never liked the United States. And as an American, look, they've got an American journalist, okay, Evan Gershkovich, who's still locked up. Okay, is there what happened? What's going on?
Oh, Unhinged joined. I just got
Oh,
excited.
Unhinged is in the house. All right,
Yeah.
my dude.
But Tom said he astral projects.
Wait, I didn't know that. Don't say I know it. Hey, Darren, your buddy Unhinged just come in here. He's doing the same thing you are. I hope he brought the oil.
Oh Lord.
So, Tom, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to come on the show for a few minutes and talk about your experience and what you do? Because this is exactly what I want people to have. If you astral project, I want you to give me your experience. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna click the invite. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna come over to you on Facebook. Bear with me here, TikTok and Facebook world, while I find Tom. Tom, don't say no. It's not you're not allowed to say no.
We actually have somebody in the house who does it. We need to know. You must share, sir. Share your secrets. Oh, hold on. She's trying to get back in the vent. Be right back.
She best not be getting back in that vent. You just got her out. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Tom, I got the link is in your messenger on Facebook. So go ahead and click that and I'll bring you in the show. We're going to get a firsthand experience from somebody who astral projects. So let's talk about it, because what better way to get the actual story than somebody who claims to do it? So, and look, I know Tom.
Way
He's
better
a good
than us
guy.
speculating.
Right. He's a great dude. And I do not believe he would come on here jerking anybody's chain. I honestly believe.
Tom's going to teach you, Taryn. I want to learn too.
Tom
I'm
is
nosy.
Tom might teach you, Taryn. Tom might jump on that wagon. But while we're waiting for Tom to jump in, and we're talking about astral projecting. I think it was Edgar Casey, who really also Edgar Casey, he was into kind of all kinds of black projects. Let me do a quick, because I don't want to mess this up.
I'm not familiar.
See, he was an American clairvoyant. Dreamweaver's about to jump up in here.
Oh, yay.
So he was an American attributed clairvoyant who claimed to speak from his higher self when in a trance lake. So I think so Edgar Casey was more of the person who had like an alien that actually spoke to him.
Okay.
And gave him like all kinds of secrets to the universe and you name it, whatever. I don't know. But it's a fascinating guy. So if you're ever bored, guys, Google Edgar Casey, Cayce. Okay, so think about all the places you could go. See the Aurora Borealis or Area 51. Now that's a fascinating thing. So instead of storming Area 51 like they were talking about doing all them years ago,
just in.
Ash, Taryn loves your baby.
Oh yes, this is my smallest one, and she's got really big murder mittens and really big scary teeth, but she's like this big.
Unhinged is jumping out. Take care, brother. All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring Tom into the stage. There he is, my man, Tom Springer.
What's going on?
How's it going, brother?
Good. How y'all doing?
It's good, man. It's good. So you actually astral project from your body.
I swore you and I talked about this before.
We probably did, but I have terrible memory. And look, I mean, I was accused of saying something on a show that I said I never said, but Ashley's like, yeah, you did. But
I'm so
whatever.
sorry.
She literally called me out on our own show, on the live. She didn't have the decency to say, don't say that, just we'll talk about it later. No. Here's that bus. Get underneath it.
You kept going.
Jeff.
I don't give a shit. If I said it, I said it. All right.
Okay. All right. Yes. So I kind of taught myself how to astral project, and I didn't know what I was doing initially. But then I talked to my mentor, who her name is Joni White Buffalo. She's actually a shaman that lives up in Canada. For those of you who know her, but I said, look, I'm able to go to sleep, basically roll up and look kind of.
Uh-oh. I think he was going to talk about looking up because there's a very big significance with that. So
Okay.
that's interesting. Are you back?
We lost you there, buddy.
Apparently, I'm breaking the internet when I try to talk about this. So
Yeah,
sorry.
here we go. The CIA is going to shut you up.
Right?
They don't want us to
You
know.
will not be talking on this show.
That will not be the first time they've attempted this. Trust me.
I'm sure.
But no. So I basically, I literally try to look into my third eye with this. When I go to sleep, I close my eyes and I kind of look into my third eye, and I can. When I start to drift, I start to see places like tops of trees, and then I start to push myself out even further and everything else here. Hi, Taryn. What's up, lady? And I kind of push myself out, and I've gone to locations to where I am literally on different. I know they're different planets, but I don't think they're actually in our universe. And when I talked to my mentor about this, I said, "Hey, this is what I'm seeing," and I can explain to you guys what I saw. I actually went around a location to where it literally looked like I was flying around or through mountains that were made out of diamonds, and I was like, "This is pretty cool."
Did you grab a handful?
Was that? I wish, man.
Share the
But,
wealth.
and I've been to a couple other places. In fact, the one I told you about that I told you sticks with me. This is how I know you and I talked about this. So let me refresh you again, there, my friend. I talked about the fact that I went to this huge area out in space, and it was just open, and it was like nothing in it at all, except for I can see these very dark black, and they looked like monstrosities of fortresses, and there was 3 of them floating just out in central space. And I couldn't make out anything except for the fine lines of the detail around it, but I could tell that they had windows and the lights all over the place.
Uh-oh.
Man, his internet connection's bad.
This is just getting good.
Come
I've
on,
heard
dude.
of that, though.
Can
People able to go to other planets.
know this. I knew it. I was like, just when I get to the good part. But unfortunately, I see you guys go out first before I see me go out, so I know I'm about to die.
Hey, there's a question for you really quick one from TikTok. Ask him if he's ever projected to a foggy place with giant trees.
I have a big tendency to remote view into forested areas. Now, remote viewing and astral projection are 2 different things, just so people are aware of that. Remote viewing is literally identifying a location that you are seeing either through someone else's eyes or through something else that someone has given you, and you're actually to remote to that location. That's when you hear about psychic investigators saying they're solving deaths or mysteries or missing people, whatever else, through remote viewing. They are actually contacting with something along the lines that that person had or whatever else, and remote viewing basically to the last place they were seen or to a location that they have been seen. I remote view a lot of times, and it seems like forest is a big place where I remote view to. I haven't learned how to control that to bring myself in to know where I am remote viewing, but I always remote view to forests. But the astral projection always takes me outside of the universe, or at least outside of anything I'm able to identify. And so when I was talking about that, go ahead.
Do you have a process that you follow to astral project? Do you do it intentionally, or does it just kind of happen for you now?
So this is what I was going to share with you. When I talked to my first mentor about it, and I talked to a couple of other people about it, I'm like, okay, I need opinions because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to these really weird places, and they're like, what are you doing? And I said, well, when I close my eyes, I simply start looking into my.
Give him a second. CIA is working on his internet connection again.
They just don't. Every time he tries to start talking about it, they don't want us to know.
And that's how I do it. Oh, wait, you missed it. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I saw you guys disappear. No, I literally try to look into my third eye, into my pineal gland, and I try to focus on something that's distant, that is not familiar to me, and I drift. And what I found out I was doing is I was teaching myself how to do a self-hypnosis, and I did not know that's what I was doing. And even a couple people that talked to me about it, they're like, wait a second, you taught yourself how to do self-hypnosis? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, that's what you're doing. You are self-hypnotizing yourself to allow yourself to drift into an astral projection plane and go visit. Now, when I tried this, my mentor decided I want to try something. I am going to try to meet you somewhere in an astral projection world, and I'm going to astral project you where I want you to meet me, and it's my location that she always goes to. So we tried it, and the next day she's like, where was I? And I described it, and she was like, holy shit, you were there. I saw you had the parental advisory, so I know I was good.
Yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, she was like, that is amazing. That's where I reside when I go on an astral travel, and I want to be to where I can just kind of focus on my own, away from absolutely everything. She uses it kind of as a meditation area to where she can just disconnect from everything and just focus. But that's how I learned that I was able to astral project. And it's how to teach others. I literally tell them, honestly, go into your relaxed state when you're trying to sleep. Try to look up in your pineal gland. You're going to realize it's not a dream. It's not a vision, because dreams, you understand dreams. So let me tell you a little something, the difference between visions and dreams. Visions, you will recognize words, numbers, and people's faces. Dreams, you will not. In the dream side of your brain, you cannot read, you cannot tell time, and you will not recognize people's faces. But in visions, you can. Now, in the astral projection state, you're going to a location that you have never been to before, but when you awake, you will feel like you've always been there. It's pretty interesting, because every time I came back, I'm like, man, I went to this location. I feel like I've been there before. Now, the question is it something, all right, Dustin, we're going to go into the conversation because you're dumb enough to have me on. Was this something that is due to the fact that this is where one of my starseed DNAs connect with? So that's why it brings back to something like that? Or is it from a past life that was at a different location? Or whatever else. So or is it of a few? And here's the other question: are we allowed to astral project forward into something that we are going to come up to in the future, but not something we've come across yet? But we've already seen it in another timeline, one of our other parallel timelines.
So you think that's what astral projection is actually just you viewing one of your other timelines?
I think I personally believe astral projection is me viewing somewhere else in the universe that I have resonated with as a starseed at some point, whether it be like a Lyran or a Pleiadian or an Arcturian or something of those lines. I have DNA attachments to, I believe it's 18 or 19 different past starseed connections. So it could be places that I've already resonated with before and I've been a part of.
That's interesting. So you said starseed?
Yes.
So before I ask you what that is, I want to know what that is. Dreamweaver on TikTok says it's not normal to recognize faces in dreams.
It is not. Those are visions. If you are recognizing a face, and you can tell also because if you're in a vision and you see a face and you don't like that face, you can alter that face. That's a little more advanced to be able to alter your dreams and also to wake up and fall back asleep to where you were dreaming at and continue that dream. Those are a couple advanced methods, but no, in a dream, you don't really have over the dream. It is just simply something that is going on, but that's why it's so intangible, because you don't recognize numbers, words, or faces. But in your visions, you're having a vision about somebody, whether you know them or not, or someone you're going to meet. You are having a vision, and it is either just a simple message of someone who had passed on, or it is something that is going to come up in your future, or it is something that is happening to you currently now, and it is trying to warn you of something.
So how often do you practice astral projection?
Now it's kind of second nature to me. So when I go to sleep, if I want to try to astral project, it's right away. My wife, Nikki, she will tell you that I will be asleep within 3 minutes and I'm already gone. But so for me, it's very immediate. And it's always been, like I said, I did not know I was self-teaching myself how to do this. I was actually trying to teach myself how to remote view. And it turned out I went a little beyond that, and I was astral projecting myself. And I was clarified of that by a couple of the people who, like I said, do what I do. And they said, this is what you're doing. Do you know you're doing this? And I said, absolutely not. And they said, why are you doing it? I go, like, I'm trying to remote view. Still don't know how to fully remote view, but by golly, I sure know how to astral project now.
Well, that's cool. So let me just talk a little bit about what it's like for you when you are out of body. Now, we were talking a little bit before about consciousness and what your what's like happening to your body while you're out there. So there's essentially there's probably no change to your physical body at all. You just
no, I'm attached to that which is astral projecting, which a lot of people will say is your soul, or to a life force or something along the lines that's transferring to another location. And a lot of times people will see it as a silver thread that is attaching you to your physical, to your ethereal, if you want to say, connection that is out there in astral projection.
There's your answer, Black Widow. Go ahead. There was a question earlier. Is there a string attached so you can find your way back?
Yes, and you will notice a lot of people don't know they astral project. It's a subconscious happening, and whenever you're laying there and your body jerks and you jerk yourself awake, that is you have been on an astral travel, and your soul or your ethereal being has slammed back into you by being pulled back on that tether in some way, shape, or form. So that's why you feel like that feeling of falling that wakes you up. You've literally fallen back into your body.
I've had that multiple times.
Right. So that is something that you are doing without knowing you're doing it.
Yeah. So how do you gain control? I mean, this has to be through a seriously dedicated, conscientious effort to be able to control it.
No, you would think that. And I understand the fear of letting go and just and letting it just be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never focused on practicing it. I've only done what I can tell you, and that is simply when you're laying down, make yourself comfortable. And I started trying doing it initially because I was trying to look into my third eye to kind of help relax me. Just put myself in a relaxed state so I can sleep heavier or sleep faster. And when I did that, I realized I was traveling. Like I said, it's a subconscious thing. So if you start focusing on it, if you're like, okay, I'm going to try to look into my third eye, I'm going to try to relax myself. And you just start every night basically putting those two thoughts in your head. That's it. I'm going to try to relax myself, and I'm going to try to put myself under by looking through my third eye. You're bound to end up in some way, shape, or form doing an astral travel. Even if you. So here's how we tell some people to do it. If you want to try to put yourself in that calm state, try to look into your third eye and try to visualize yourself looking down on you in your bed. And when you do that, you will start to understand, because if it works, which it does for a lot of people, is that you are actually looking down at your physical being sleeping, and you will see that little silver thread that you're attached to just above yourself as you're sleeping. Hi, Monica. Your better half. Some do. Tibetan monks, a handful of different types out there, will actually put themselves into a state of travel because it helps eliminate the surrounding noise. That's why I told you that's where my mentor goes to meditate, to calm herself, to kind of let everything wind down. She does that in her meditation because it's away from everything. So that's her way of doing it.
Go ahead, Ash.
I was just going to say, I've heard a lot of different methods that also include that looking up. I know that I've looked into the Silva method before. They talk about looking up. A lot of them say that focusing on the center of your forehead, where they don't use the terminology third eye, pineal gland, all of that, but I've heard that, and I do think that that's fascinating because I do that quite frequently.
Yeah, you're just activating is all you're doing. You're letting it know that you are ready to take that next step from physical to basically ethereal, soul, whatever, and allow that subconscious to become conscious, and that's what takes you out of it. But you have to trigger your pineal gland, your third eye first before it takes place. Otherwise,
I'm curious about something. I've heard before that your pineal gland gets calcified over time, and it makes it very difficult for you to reach these levels. Is there a way to fix that problem?
To basically decalcify it, attempt to use it. That's all you have to do. It's like anything else. The more you use it, well, you know this. You start working out. The more you use it, the stronger you get. So see, so yeah, it's like anything else. It's something that you have to use in order to basically free it from its calcification stage
It's
or
like
its
a muscle that atrophies.
Right. Yes, when they lobotomize people, they sever that gland.
Really? Because I thought that was buried deep in your brain, like you couldn't get to that.
Yeah,
No,
the pineal gland is more up here.
Yeah, if you went through here, so old time lobotomies, just so people know, went through the center, or they went through the top here. Old time
I thought
lobotomies
they were always through here.
No, old time lobotomies used to go through your skull because they were trying to actually interfere your pineal gland, because that was also the thought that that's what made people crazy. That's what made people hear voices. That's what made people do all these other things. So they were trying to disconnect that from them to help make them quote unquote normal again. So
what kind of cheese you want, dark green? Just keep talking. I got to do the TikTok thing too.
Oh, okay. So you got to do a little bit of everything.
You got it.
Asking at its best.
Well, yeah. Well,
My phone died. I can't
dark
comment
green
anymore.
says, "Give me cheese." Do some of the people come in on TikTok and drop the most random? That's how we met on Unhinged. He came in there and he's talking about rubbing oil on me, man. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Good dude, though. We had a lot of
He's
fun.
funny. I like him.
Good. I'm glad you are, Cheryl. I'm glad someone's getting something out of this. That's good.
But I saw Dom and Tom popped in. What's up, brothers? How you guys doing? So want to say shout out to them. I haven't talked to them forever. So
oh
yeah.
No, yeah, they jumped in. No, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, I sent them links if they wanted to jump on.
Oh.
Yeah. Cheesy cheese for my hungry tummy. God, TikTok is so random. I love you guys. It's ridiculous. Let's continue
I can't see it anymore.
Ash, ask questions too, lady. Feel free.
Yeah, Ash, ask questions.
I'm not a shy, quiet person. Look at the space. I'm not a shy, quiet person. You can ask.
No, I was just saying I'm so sad. My phone died. I can't see the TikTok comments anymore.
You can't see TikTok? That's probably better. All right. So do you feel that anybody can before you answer the can anybody do it type of thing, like like Ratatouille, anybody can cook. Can anybody astral project? But back to the pineal gland really quick. I was told at one time, and my little brother, who I don't even speak to anymore because he's a dick, he used to drink distilled water because he said drinking distilled water would help to decalcify the pineal gland. Have you ever heard anything like that?
I haven't heard anything about as far as the water methods or anything else. I mean, the biggest thing I've heard from numerous people is that you just have to use it. If there are other things out there that people recommend or they know of or they believe is working, one, more power to them. Two, share with others so they can have something else to try. And three, don't be afraid unless it's going to harm you in any way, shape, or form, mentally or physically. Feel free to try it as long as it's not a danger to you. I mean, some people it may help, others it may not. Yes, too much fluoride.
Well, that is the government.
One of the main calcifiers.
Yes, and but it is a necessity for some things in your body and everything else. But do they have other things that can substitute for fluoride? Maybe. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen these faces forever.
Guys, welcome to the show, owners of BB3 TV, Dom.
I have to turn off the. I had your video playing in the background. I'm like, why am I hearing people talking and they're not talking?
So, welcome to the show, guys. We are talking about astral projection and sleep paralysis. We haven't even gotten to sleep paralysis yet,
right?
And we're almost through the show.
That's my favorite topic, by the way. Sleep paralysis.
Awesome. Have you had any experience with sleep paralysis, Dom?
Absolutely, so many, and it's something I actually want to do a documentary on, and they did one already. But I want to document myself going through the sleep paralysis myself. Very scary. We just talked about it today at work because I just had another experience last night about it. not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm. The few times I've had it, it's been terrifying.
Yeah.
One time I actually saw something.
That's not something that I mean, I think I've experienced it maybe once or twice. And I felt like I was supposed to be waking up and I wasn't able to. Like it was like in my mind, I was awake, in my mind, I was moving, but for whatever reason, my body just wouldn't budge.
Sure. I feel like it's definitely a spiritual paranormal experience. I don't believe it's anything with science. Too many people experience it. I believe there's astral world that hits you. They say the thing sleeping on the chest, the demon, whatever.
Because it feels heavy. It feels
Yes.
heavy right here.
There is that panic, the anxiety that hits. You can't move and you know it. So I heard Tom talking earlier about the jerking. I often worry times when I'm going through the paralysis. If I will die in my sleep by possibly breaking my own neck, going through that thing. You're not really sure. And then you may not be moving at all. It all may be in your dream about the moving. Who knows? I've often said I'd like to put up a camera to watch my sleep cycles of when this happens, what's happening, the days, the months, the moons, whatever it may be. It's a very heavy
correlation.
life.
Man, Dom, that would be crazy because your sleep cycles are erratic.
Or absolutely erratic, yes. Yes.
So Kristen says, I felt like I was awake and something was sitting on me. I tried to talk to my husband and I couldn't say anything but mumble. And I said his name a second time and I was able to get released finally.
I felt it like in a dream, you know what I mean? Like, and I woke up, and when I did wake up, I could move, but that's as close as I got to it.
Really?
So maybe I was, while I was sleeping, like maybe I did have that, and then when I woke up, it just stopped.
Okay.
I don't know.
Dom, I have a question. I know you said that you feel that it is something paranormal. What are your thoughts on the theory that it's basically because, when we sleep, we produce the hormones that keep us from being able to act out our dreams so that we're not all just walking around sleepwalking. So there is a theory that it basically your brain is waking up before those hormones have completely left your body. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm torn because when it happened to me, like I said, there was a time that I saw something like full body,
Sure.
saw something that was gone when I was able to move. But then, I also wonder, like, is it because we're still kind of hallucinating because we're still somewhat in that dream state because those hormones aren't gone? Like,
So I believe you could take that theory even in death. Is that the light that we see when we go, that total
or is it
relaxation?
DMT?
So I think in this situation, when you're in that relaxed state, or however not, you might be seeing the real world. These people in your dreams that you swear and you're like, you wake up and shit, I swear I knew them, and you're going through these cycles like, what happened here? Was it real? You get anxiety attacks when you wake up. Did this really happen? And the paralysis of how it happens, as far as maybe you really saw the real world. Maybe you realize, you know what I mean? Maybe when you actually wake up, you are seeing an illusion of what you're supposed to see because your brain is saying, this is not real. This is something here. This is what the teachers taught me. When you were born, you were taught nothing. You were able to see ghosts as a kid. You were probably playing with ghosts your entire life. You were probably doing things with entities of your long lost grandfather and grandmother.
We just did a show on this.
Side. And when you close your eyes at night, you go back to seeing your dead friends. You go back to seeing the people. Maybe that's when you go to heaven and kind of visit and say, I have a place here and we're going to see you soon. You know what I mean? No, we're still here. Is it a mental thing? We don't know. Science, we don't know. However, though, in our hearts and our minds, when we see ghosts, that's why paranormal still exists. I almost don't believe in ghost hunting anymore because you always find the same crap. And it's a wipeout thing for me. Like, I don't care about it no more. I don't know if you're a parental advisor, you are. I give a shit about what I see, the people who come to my life, in my dreams, the real paranormal investigations that I see, I believe that when you dream, you do go to another plane and you are seeing these people and they're giving you messages. In that sleep paralysis style, I believe that there's something kind of blocking that. Maybe the one rule of ghost hunting was the fact that you never ask of God, right? So maybe they're pressuring you that you shouldn't know this much.
In researching this topic, I came across the Gateway guidebook that basically tells you to protect yourself, you have to imagine yourself in a balloon. And it's like a protective balloon because you can ultimately interact with other dimensional beings that aren't exactly friendly.
Sure.
Tom, have you had any of those types of experiences when you projected? Did you ever feel like you were in a threatened state or in any danger, any kind of danger in any way?
No, I think that, excuse me, I believe I never have been, but that is a report or a belief is that when you are brought back, that is when I told you about when you snap kind of back in like you were falling, that is because there is a potential for something that could try to disconnect you at that point when you are out of your body. So there is a potential threat, and your ethereal self is coming back to yourself to stop that disconnection from happening. So that could be something along the lines. There is something out there. Your body knows it, or your higher self knows it. So it's trying to get back to protect you. And it all happens in a twinkle of an eye. It's very fast when it happens. It just feels like it took a while when you land. But a lot of the stories I've heard about that, and a lot of times when I do it, I don't really have the problem slamming back in because I kind of seem to just kind of come back in and wake up like I just had a really good nap. But for the people I hear about, when it slams back into them, it jolts them awake. That really is a protection, a form of protection for themselves to make sure they don't get disconnected, basically from the soul or something like that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I wonder if that's what happens, like when we're sleeping and we're not trying to project ourselves or whatever. Like when you just wake up with a jolt and you don't know why. I mean,
so going into that, actually, I want to kind of spiderweb on both of that because there is actually a practice. I'm sure you guys maybe have talked about this earlier. There's a practice to actually put yourself in sleep paralysis, and it's quite simple. You lay on the floor straight. Your body starts to feel the itch, and you don't scratch. Your eyes may tingle. You start that itch. You don't move. You do not move. So I've kind of taught myself this to learn this sleep paralysis and learn what's there. I put myself in sleep paralysis at times to try to learn. Now it's when times I know it's kind of scary, but like things like this, you're not sure if you're having a seizure or whatever when you're jerking yourself around, like said earlier. But like yes, once your body is absolutely still, like in that feeling, your body starts telling you, hey, move a little bit by saying your eye itches, your hand itches. You ignore it completely and just go into that stage, and all of a sudden, somehow, some way, you are sleeping, but you're awake. And that's when you're there. And that's how you kind of put yourself in it. It's absolutely crazy that you would want to do it. But this subject for me is I want to find whatever it was that I saw before, and I want to find out what it is. So on my days off, I usually try to put myself in sleep paralysis.
Well, what you were explaining about that's actually what I've read. Like, because back when I was a teenager, I read tons of books on astral projection, like the whole Edgar Cayce and things like that. And that's exactly how they tell you to prepare yourself for the astral projection. And it says you may feel an itch here and there, resist the urge to do it.
Yep.
Like it's all very much the same.
Yeah.
It never worked for me though.
So from over on TikTok, Black Widow said, it's scary when my whole body jumps and I wake up and her heart's pounding.
Sure. That happens all the time. Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. Whoever Black Widow is, I totally get that. And, I wake up sometimes and I'm like, fuck, I may need a sleep pack or whatever that son of a bitch is. I may have like sleep apnea, but I know what the fuck I just did. I was probably choked or some shit, and most doctors would probably put that, like, if you go on there saying, well, fuck, I'm losing my breath and all, they'll come up with 100 things wrong with you, really, when there's, this could be like a paranormal thing, as far as that aspect goes. What's wrong with your life? What are you thinking? What are you dreaming? What do you want to see? What do you push forward into your life? Honestly.
Hey, Dom, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there any, and this is just me thinking as you're talking, kind of thinking things out. Is there anything that you may agree with, that maybe your sleep paralysis is because something in your personal life is just so heavy or so depressing or something else that you just don't want to deal with it? So
absolutely not.
Paralysis?
No, absolutely not. No, I go through depressive times and things like that. But I get through it on my own.
Okay.
Nothing that comes within my dreams comes from my personal problems in life. Honestly, a lot of the paralysis come from investigating paranormal, looking into it. Can you put that into your brain as far as am I making this shit up as far as, oh, well, you read something about, something paranormal and shit like that. But knowing what I know about the paranormal world, and I really don't fucking really enjoy it anymore, but I'm telling you straight up, some bullshit comes with it. You know what I mean? You really fucking get some shit with it. Yep. Whether it's God or a demon, when you ask for shit, you get it.
Well, it's like anything. You've got to be careful with the stuff you're playing around with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could be putting yourself in a situation where you could be harmed, even if it is just your spiritual energy that's out there. It is still something that exists in space and time that's vulnerable on a different dimension that we exist here on the physical plane. So I imagine that could even cause emotional type of trauma that you could bring back with you, that would, or maybe you could even bring back an attachment. You just don't know.
I also believe that there's other effects to it as well. Just to get on Tom's side of it, as far as, depressions and things in life, maybe some feelings do come involved with things. Maybe you feel things on a higher plane. Maybe sometimes people don't feel sleep paralysis because you feel things on a higher plane when you know things exist, when you know things are there, the things that go bump in the night. Maybe something is reaching to you.
Or maybe you're more emotionally susceptible.
Exactly my point right there. They feel what I feel. Right. So maybe in my bad times, they could feel it and say, hey, we're having a fucking bad time too. You know what I mean? Let's reach you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to pop in and run, but I mainly wanted to come in and say hi because Dom said, oh, well, we're going to go on Dustin's show. I said, all right, cool. But I got to go clean up dinner before the ants start to invade the kitchen again.
Well, thanks for
jumping in. Love that time of year.
Every year. If it's not ants, it's the termites. They try to invade the house, and I have to stop them. Thankfully, this year it's just ants, but they're a pain in the ass.
Let's hope.
Definitely the preferable.
Good luck with that.
All right, it was good seeing everybody. See you guys later.
Nice
thanks
to
for the
meet
night
you.
as well, brother. Nice show earlier.
Hey, so guys, really quick, we're going to go ahead and call tonight on the show. You all stay on here in the back office for me for a few minutes. Thanks for joining in today, guys. It was a good time. I wish we could have gotten into a little bit more detail. Tom, what an awesome guest. I appreciate you coming in and sharing your experience with us.
Really appreciate it.
Definitely. And Dom telling us about, sleep, paralysis. It's, these perspectives are what helps us to understand, and we appreciate that. Guys, next week, Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to have a UFO specialist, Tom Conwell, coming on the show. This guy is incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly experienced, has been immersed in the UFOs for decades. This is going to be an excellent show, guys. You don't want to miss this. Be here next Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a great time. Guys, thank you all for being here.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys later. Take care. We're going to end the TikTok first, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.